Michael Bisping's right eye was almost as much in the press as he was. Here's the story behind it. Bisping was known for competing with his left eye throughout the latter half of his career because his right eye looked terrible. Bisping, and his opponents in particular, sought to make fun of the affliction. Michael, however, did not always have a problem with the eye. In fact, Bisping spent more than half of his UFC career with two good eyes. Bisping's life was turned upside down when he met Vitor Belfort in the octagon in 2013. In an odd turn of events, the incident also represented a shift in Bisping's fortunes, as he went on to have his best run in the UFC after the injury. Michael's loss of an eye has not slowed him down at all, but the story behind it is still one that many UFC fans are curious about. Early career. Michael Bisping was a young 10-0 fighter when he was signed to compete in the third season of The Ultimate Fighter, where he dominated the competition, knocking out all three of his opponents to win the light heavyweight tournament. Bisping won a couple more fights at 205 pounds before dropping to 185 after a loss to Rashad Evans. Bisping became one of the sport's biggest underdogs around this period. The Ultimate Fighter's villain. Michael Bisping was never exactly a hero in the early days of his UFC career, but his appearance on the 9th season of The Ultimate Fighter is where he truly became the bane of many fans' lives. Bisping did everything he could to get under the skin of beloved UFC legend Dan Henderson while coaching against him. Bisping had long been despised by MMA fans, but his exposure on the show gave him a great platform to become a bad guy. Knocked out of contendership. Following his loss to Henderson at UFC 100, Bisping was on a downward spiral that knocked him out of contendership. After a devastating knockout at the hands of Hendo, and a poor performance the following year against Wanderlei Silva at UFC 110, many believed Bisping wasn't the fighter they had hoped for after his early success in the UFC. After the Silva fight, Bisping went on a 4-fight winning streak, putting him in a title eliminator fight with Chael Sonnen, which he lost and was relegated to the back of the line once again. The fateful knockout. Bisping had been in the UFC for years when he met Vitor Belfort, a former UFC champion, in January of 2013. The Bisping fight was a chance for Vitor to get back into title contention, after losing to Jon Jones a few months before. And wow, did Belfort put himself back in contention for the title with this one. After a back-and-forth first round, Belfort dropped Bisping with a head kick. Belfort got right in with some ground and pound and won the fight via knockout. The bigger problem was with Bisping, who was discovered to have a detached retina as a result of the knockout. Doctors and Michael did not identify the injury until months later, which contributed to its severity. Losing an eye did not stop Bisping. Bisping's eye deteriorated further as a result of his injury not being discovered until months after the knockout loss. Because of this, Michael became clinically blind in his right eye. Doctors advised Bisping to retire after the injury was discovered, but he refused to give up and kept going. Bisping went 2-2 in the following 4 fights. After his loss to Rockhold in 2014, Michael embarked on the best run of his career. Bisping rode back-to-back victories over CB Dalloway and Thales Lates into a high-profile bout with Anderson Silva in England. Bisping won by unanimous decision after outboxing the former champion over 5 hard-fought rounds. Some felt Bisping's career was over after that, but in the end, it just launched him into the best moment of his career. UFC middleweight champion. Luke Rockhold was supposed to defend his middleweight title against Chris Weidman in a rematch from UFC 194, as the main event of UFC 199. When Weidman pulled out of the fight, the UFC rushed for a replacement. Michael, who was filming a movie at the time, was eventually selected. Despite the short notice, Bisping defeated Rockhold in one of the most shocking upsets in UFC history, capturing the title via first-round knockout. 3 years after being clinically blind in one eye, Michael became one of the most unexpected champions of all time. After UFC 199, Bisping was on top of the world, and things were about to get even better for him as he was matched up with Dan Henderson in a rematch of their UFC 100 battle, planned for UFC 204. It was Bisping's first championship defense, and he gained his revenge on Henderson in front of his own countrymen, defeating Henderson by unanimous decision. Retires from the octagon. Despite widespread speculation that Bisping should retire following his UFC 217 fight, he promised to continue fighting. Only 2 weeks after his loss to St-Pierre, he agreed to face the rising Kelvin Gastelum in China on short notice. Unfortunately, Bisping was knocked out in the first round by Gastelum, but despite the loss, Bisping again promised to fight on. Bisping, however, would not keep to that sentiment for long, as the bout forced him to retire due to difficulties with his left good eye, as a result of Gastelum's brutal knockout blow. Today, Michael is working as a broadcaster, analyst, and podcast host. His sharp comments and tremendous energy have made him a fan favorite in the MMA media world. It is safe to say that Michael Bisping is without a doubt one of the toughest individuals in the world, both physically and mentally. If you like the content, please like and subscribe for more. Check out other incredible achievements and charismatic personalities on my channel. Link on the screen somewhere and in the description.